Today I'm reacting to your Monday Night Raw Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, don't forget to follow me on X because I ask for your hot take after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every WWE Premium Live event. So that means that we're going to be doing an episode of Hot Takes immediately after Survivor Series, so make sure that you drop me a follow over on X. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm really confident that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you're looking for our review of Monday Night Raw, it's going to be up and available over on the Patreon alongside the SmackDown reviews. The podcast is already up for this week and a whole bunch of extra watch-alongs that never get uploaded to YouTube because I just simply can't. So go check it out. Patreon.com/SantiZap, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Let's jump into your stupid shit. Not doing a live announcement for the Women's Intercontinental title is already a bad start for it. I 100% agree. I was very confused that that's the way that they decided to do it before the show started, and then to just kind of show it like this thing that, hey, here's this fun little thing that happened on earlier on in the night. Meanwhile, it's not a fun little thing. It's a huge announcement. It is a major leap forward for women's professional wrestling, and to relegate it to just, here's a little flashback of something that happened on earlier on in the night. Like you said, I do think that it's a bad start for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just happy that it's announced. I feel like it makes sense to have an Intercontinental Championship and a US Championship parallel to each other on both brands for the women. But the Women's US Championship got so much more glitz and glamour and already feels more prestigious than the Intercontinental Championship. And we don't even know who the inaugural champions are going to be yet. I'm sure that this will be just a blip in the radar, but right now this is all we have when it comes to the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and it's not great. This does now start to make my gears move as I start to speculate who could be the first ever Women's Intercontinental Championship. We've already been through this song and dance with the Women's US title, and we've all kind of collectively agreed it should be like Michin or Chelsea Green. But on Monday Night Raw, I'm a little bit more torn. I'm torn because the WWE on Monday Night Raw, unlike SmackDown, hasn't done a great job of building the women's division outside of the little main event vacuum that is Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. At least over on SmackDown, the women's undercard and midcard was cooking alongside the main event feuds that were going on. But over on Monday Night Raw, that's really not been the case. So I'm almost seeing this Women's Intercontinental Championship as a life jacket to bring the women's midcard and undercard on Monday Night Raw back to life after it's been dormant basically since like right before SummerSlam, with the focus entirely shifting to Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Overall, this is obviously a really good thing. I just wish that they had announced this like actually on the show. Like, for example, you could have probably just cut out that pre-recorded Solo Sikoa promo that didn't really add anything else, any more layers to the story, because you could have probably just done that on Friday Night SmackDown if you wanted, and you could have just announced the Women's Intercontinental title during that spot instead. Really glad that we're getting Sheamus versus Ludwig versus Braun for the Intercontinental title, which is potentially going to be the best match for Survivor Series. I'm really happy as well, but if I can just add some layers to this, I'm just glad that they're adding matches to Survivor Series in general, because going into that episode of Monday Night Raw, we only had 3 matches announced. And I'm going to be honest with you, there was like 25% of me that actually believed that the WWE was going to have the balls to put on a 3-match PLE and just let both War Games matches go for over an hour. And I partly believe that because it just sort of seemed like WWE was sort of saving all of its best juice for Saturday night's main event. So I'm glad that this, alongside the United States Championship match between Nakamura and LA Knight, were announced, albeit if they were a little bit undercooked. In a normal 3-hour Raw cycle, this brawl that happened that instigated the match to be announced in the first place probably would have happened last week. And then this week, we probably would have gotten a promo to just sort of hype up the match. But because of a 2-hour Raw instead of a 3-hour Raw, when you remove that hour during an entire PLE cycle, that's more than an entire episode of Raw that's missing from WWE TV now. Now you have to use every single episode of Raw, including the go home, to announce and build up matches. And that's what happened here. But I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad the IC title is back on a PLE stage. I'm glad that it's these three guys specifically, because these three guys are fantastic and have been doing such great in-ring work. Dear Lord, I hope that Braun Breaker is okay after that spear to the corner. And more than anything, I'm just glad that we have matches. I do hope that this is not a one-off. I don't foresee it being that. I do hope that the end game here is eventually a one-on-one feud for Sheamus, where he can eventually become that Grand Slam champion that so many people want him to become. So glad that WWE introduced the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. We had a feeling that they would do this, and I'm glad that we are correct. Not to mention, this championship looks gorgeous. Who are your top three choices? I love the championship. Look, the white strap on the Intercontinental Championship just historically has looked nice on the men's side as well, and now here on the women's. Me personally, I like this more than the United States Championship, but maybe it's just because I'm a traditionalist with the Intercontinental Championship, and that white strap just is nostalgia. Top three choices, here's the thing, all right? I feel like you can name three people that would be good inaugural champions if you were to build them up. However, all of the best choices, when you think about it on Monday Night Raw, have been lying dormant because they haven't been using them. One of them is Zelina Vega. Been kind of getting used, kind of relegated to a background character of the LWO, appearing in tag team matches, but hasn't really had a proper singles run where I can say, boom, yeah, that's who should be our first women's intercontinental champion. The other one is Dakota Kai. That's a great choice, but she hasn't been used as a single star. She's been out with injury for a really long time, and they're still trying to reintroduce her as a potential single star with her vignettes. And then the third one is Lyra Valkyria. Same damn thing. They just haven't been using her, so she's just sort of been lying dormant. So this championship, this tournament that they've announced for it, I really hope is the zap that this women's division needs on Monday Night Raw to wake up everybody that's been lying dormant and been put aside for the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley feud. The new Reign of Terror. Dude, yes. Why? Why is the Judgment Day still tag team champions? They are useless with these championships. Look, at the very least, if you're gonna have them be tag team champions, have them defend the damn belt. You cannot go months between championship defenses. It is unacceptable. I don't necessarily think that the War Raiders winning would have been this great moment either, because they haven't really built up the Judgment Day as champions, so dethroning them wouldn't have really felt that special, but at the very least, it would have been a nice fresh start for those belts under the War Raiders, who could have built the prestige of the championship from the ground up. But right now, this championship reign is ass. For the life of me, why did they book the Judgment Day to retain the tag team titles over the War Raiders? I can't understand this booking of Monday Night Raw's tag team division when they barely defended the titles since they won them off of Awesome Truth in June. Look, I understood why they initially gave them to the Judgment Day to build up the Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan feud. It kind of feels like the Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan feud has just really damaged some other aspects of Monday Night Raw, coupled with the fact that Monday Night Raw going from 3 to 2 hours has really made it more difficult for other divisions to get time. Like, that's kind of the causes of the symptomatic and problematic championship reign that we're seeing here. It worked with the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley feud, but like, we're past that. And now that we're past that, you need to be a tag team and you need to have tag team matches, and they're just not doing that. So yeah, I'm with you. For the life of me, I also cannot understand why the Judgment Day has been booked to beat the War Raiders. I don't get it. Is this match going to be at WrestleMania 41? Can I just say that I love Bat Mommy? I love Bat Mommy. Where is she? Where's our fifth member? Look, I love the mask. It just works for Rhea Ripley, and I hope that she uses it as a weapon with her headbutts that she does. Is this the WrestleMania 41 match? No. Is this a WrestleMania match? Yeah, absolutely. You know what this was? This was what Triple H has been doing over the last couple of weeks, where he's just like, you want to see what we have for the future? You want to see what I've got cooking? Something that, could be a potential WrestleMania dream match in a couple of years. They did it with Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu. They're doing it here as well. These are the 1A and 1B of women's professional wrestling. They are the two biggest stars, bar none. It's not even close. There's a reason why they were on the cover of the most recent WWE 2K video game. This is going to be a WrestleMania match, and it's going to be enormous. It will depend on the state of the Bloodline story and the world titles where they're at in a future WrestleMania. But this, honestly, in terms of star power, could be the night one main event of a WrestleMania.
There you go.
Oh my God!
You see what I mean?
That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is exclusively available on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're looking at the tag team classic that is DIY versus The Revival in a best 2 out of 3 falls at NXT TakeOver Toronto. We have a hardcore match between Shane McMahon and Steve Blackman at SummerSlam 2000. We've got real graps this week in the classic match between Bret Hart and Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10. We have a ridiculous match between Sabu and Rob Van Dam in a ladder match. And we're looking at Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania 39. You're gonna get this and so much more, like the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early, the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, the currently ongoing Undertaker Streak watch along, the currently ongoing Royal Rumble watch along, and more. So if you're doing the math, I actually upload more on Patreon than I do on YouTube, and those are videos that will never appear on YouTube. So go check it out. It's patreon.com/SantiZap. I'm confident that if you even try for 1 month, that you're absolutely going to fall in love with it. There's hundreds of videos already up and available for you to enjoy day one. So go check it out. The link will be in the description. The link will likely also be in the pinned comment, but that's it, folks. Let's get back to the video. This was a crazy bump. You know what? Let's watch it. Let's risk the copyright. All right, folks, let's witness this together. Oh, God damn. Good Lord. Brother, that hurt to watch. Braun Breaker, just slow the fuck down. Just slow down. You don't need to, you didn't need to do that. I'm so glad that this match was put on the card. I think it's really going to show us the kind of Shinsuke that we're getting. Also, this is just going to be a banger. I hope it's a banger, and I hope that it's good, and I hope that Nakamura stands tall. I'm not convinced that Nakamura is going to win. I feel like it's going to end in 2 ways. It's either Nakamura shockingly wins the United States Championship and becomes your new champion, or he gets disqualified and still stands tall by beating down LA Knight. Here's the thing. He just can't lose. Like, Nakamura cannot get pinned. If Nakamura loses clean, he loses this match to LA Knight, it's over. Like, it's over with Nakamura. This character that is really intriguing is dead on arrival, and no one will take it seriously. So they need to do something big with Nakamura here. It is a bit of a bummer, however, that because of the rush nature of this, that they didn't really get to have like promo battles with each other. LA Knight hasn't really gotten a chance to respond to Shinsuke Nakamura as of the making of this video. So it does sort of feel like a really just put together match, but the star power is there. People are curious about Shinsuke Nakamura. It's cool having the mid-card belts in a PLE environment, so I'm good with it. Cooking. Cannot wait to eat good on Monday. Dude, that may have been one of the best promo backstage segments that I've ever seen on Monday Night Raw. The argument between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston was borderline legendary. The roast that these two were delivering on one another just crossed so many lines into the level of personal that made this into what I deem to now be a WrestleMania worthy feud. The insults, the fact that these guys just felt like they were having to carry one another throughout the big moments of each other's careers was just a brutal revelation from one another. On top of that, what I loved about this is the fact that I didn't know who was the bad guy because they were both just so goddamn mean. Was it cinema? Absolutely. What else was brilliant? Them getting squashed by Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy, a team that can barely get on Monday Night Raw, that is lucky to appear on main event, squashing the New Day in 1 minute and setting up this argument right the week before the New Day celebration. Genius, brilliant. This was cinema. I am like glued to my seat, eyes glued to the screen whenever these guys are going to be on screen next. I just can't wait to see how Big E gets involved if he does, because at this point he absolutely needs to. I feel like these two after tonight's match could have a great one-on-one match, maybe even their own one-on-one rivalry. I would be down for this because, oh my goodness, yes, that tag team match was fantastic. but this would be such an amazing showcase of WWE's like next generation of potential main eventers. I know that there's probably some detractors for both of these guys, but I mean, right now we're still seeing them in their infancy of their WWE main roster run. There's just still so much left. But in terms of pure raw in-ring talent, like, dude, the main event caliber talent is there with both of these guys. One-on-one rivalry, I'm down for it. Best of 7 a la Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, I'm down for that as well. I want to see more of these guys together. Woods name drop Brock Lesnar. It's almost inevitable at this point. Brock is coming back really soon. I don't think that this was a hint that Brock Lesnar is coming back to the WWE. I just feel like Xavier Woods needed to name drop Brock Lesnar in order to really make that insult really land with Kofi Kingston by insulting him for the fact that he lost that WWE championship in 6 seconds to Brock Lesnar. It hit a lot more and it was more impactful if you actually mentioned Brock Lesnar. I just don't think that this is some sort of like Wyatt 6 type of QR codes or hints hidden in the background that Brock Lesnar is coming back. The New Day segment was so good. The use of anime character personas as well as Goku and Goku Black was perfect. I cannot wait for this fight. Good catch. Yeah, they were absolutely in Goku and Goku Black gear. I hope that it's not like that entirely on the nose where it's Xavier Woods for sure that's turning heel. I want this to be a little bit more ambiguous now because of frankly, how good Kofi Kingston was at delivering those absolutely mean and ruthless lines to Xavier Woods. So I hope that it's a little bit more complex than just Xavier bad, Kofi good. This made me excited more now than anything that Karrion Kross did in this feud. Well, yeah, when Karrion Kross was part of this feud, it wasn't very good. However, I gotta give Karrion Kross the credit, you know, the props. That part of the story is what eventually led down to this. I was not a believer, all right? I was not on the New Day train. I was not allowed on the New Day train, but I'm absolutely on this train now, and it did start at the station Karrion Kross. Let's just call it what it was. This is the best version of Damian Priest that we have seen. He has improved so much in such little time. He has improved a lot just over the last year. I will say, however, I want to say that with Damian Priest, less is more. I felt like in that promo with Gunther, I felt like we were overexposing Damian Priest a little bit too much, and he was starting to sound a little bit too much like a PG-13 superhero, you know, like trying to insult Gunther, but not really insulting Gunther. It sounded to start a little bit goofy and campy. Meanwhile, you know, in the previous week, that like single line that he dropped of "in the ring, you the general, but out here in the streets, I'm the king." Like that's like the perfect level of goofy for Damian Priest. Like that was great, but I felt like it was maybe a little bit too much. I feel like with Damian Priest, when it comes to these promos, less can be more. But I appreciate them making him look strong, continuing to win the fights against Gunther. But damn it, that is not my ring general. That is the ring bitch. I don't know who this Gunther is. It's a shame that even with the Wyatt 6 and Final Testament's work, that this match or even a singles match can't even get on a PLE, but Nakamura can come back in 2 weeks and get a US title shot on a PLE. Make it make sense. You know what? When you put it down like that, I can't make it make sense. You're just right, dude. I'm not wanting to take away from Nakamura and LA Knight, but when you have this other feud that is far more fledged out, and with interesting characters that have already had proper interactions back and forth with one another for several weeks now, I would say that that warrants the PLE spot more than the seemingly impromptu United States Championship match. I don't know if they're allergic to having the Wyatt 6 on a PLE stage. It's kind of crazy to me that they've still yet to be on a PLE. But if there was a feud that they've had in terms of timing, in terms of PLE space, that actually should have allowed them to get on the PLE, it was this one. So you've kind of pointed it out really well here, and I agree with you. I won't get too worried about Chad Gable right now because I'm a firm believer of letting Triple H cook. But I think that we all know that if he doesn't get his proper overdue push when Netflix takes over, then we're going to be back to square one with him. I'll be honest with you. We're already back to square one with him. I don't know what you're seeing. Listen, the whole I am a believer and I let Triple H cook. Listen, I get it and I appreciate that. Triple H, more often than not, the end result always delivers. But just because the mantra of let Triple H cook has become this thing in the internet wrestling community doesn't mean that we shouldn't at the very least criticize the journey that Triple H takes us on even if the end result is fantastic, because sometimes the way to the destination that Triple H takes us on isn't very good and should be criticized. And I think that that's the case right now with Chad Gable. And frankly, I'm not convinced that when Raw comes to Netflix that we're all of a sudden going to get the overdue push of Chad Gable, because we've been there, done that, and we've gotten to the same damn spot, which is square one. I swear those tag titles better be shown and cherished if they're keeping them in the Judgment Day. I agree. I'm fine with Finn Balor and JD McDonough as wrestlers, as characters, as tag team champions if they actually act as tag team champions and have tag team stories and have tag team matches. I'm fine with it. My problem isn't the people holding it. My problem is the booking of the people holding it. She's shown to very quickly progress. She's an unlikely underdog, and it would add validation to a fractured Alpha Academy who desperately needs that kind of momentum. Okay, you made a decent point, but I'm still gonna say no. This match card was kind of rushed, but the show is going to cook. And if the show cooks, everybody's gonna say, should have let Triple H cook. You say, let Papa H cook. But this was rushed, and we should be able to criticize the rushed nature of this without being told by everybody, dude, just shut up, just let Triple H cook. We can criticize the journey. But is this match card going to cook? Oh my God, yeah, dude, look at it. The talent pool is fucking insane. It's going to be so good. The New Day next week. Wrestling fans are going to be in a glass case of emotion next week. I'll just say that. It's going to be copyright rules. God damn it. Yes. Okay. So WWE used my reaction on Monday Night Raw, which is great. I love that. I think it's fantastic. It just sucks that we are in this current minefield on TikTok where if you post reactions, some organization named OPSEC Security on behalf of WWE is copyright striking us. So like, we don't know if we should be or are allowed to post these, if WWE wants us to post these or not, because it's seriously like mixed signals. And something tells me that when it comes to the copyright stuff on TikTok, it's not WWE. Clearly not, because they're totally, clearly cool with reactors, which again, it's so cool to be on Monday Night Raw. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Okay, get out of here.